I had only 2 clients once I decided to quit my job. I didn't really have a really good backup plan. I was like, I'm just gonna go with it. I think these clients will give me like this amount of money, and I was like, I think that's enough to like let me live in Bali for a month. Whatever I design, like tons of people from all over the world come and see it, and some like influencers that I knew from a few years back, they come to Bali and they visit the spa, and I'm like, this influencer I've been following for so long, like they like come and then they take a picture of my work and they like enjoy the service. I'm like, wow, my work is like shared like all over the world.
What's the biggest lessons learned, running this studio?
I would say like don't be greedy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Ordinary Podcast, and today we have a friend of mine, Stella. She's the owner of Visuals by S, and she's working out of Bali. And I would say, if you look at her stories and everything, her Instagram, she's really living the life. Like, you just go and have a look. So today we have her on the podcast to discuss a bit about brand designing, how this working out of Bali looks like. I always was curious about what her life is there, how she gets her clients and all those kind of things. So yeah, Stella, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Stella and I'm based in KL and Bali, and I help business owners turn their vision into reality through brand identity design and packaging design.
Okay. So I was always curious about how she, lives this life, because when I met you that time, you were already like living on
like
two sides.
Life,
kind of nomad kind of life. So I was just curious, why do you actually do this, go into this brand design thing? And because your degree was in mass communication, correct?
Yeah.
It was nothing close to graphics design. And how do you ended up in Bali of all places?
Okay, so I studied mass communications, and it was a lot about like video, film, photography, and design was like one small subject. So I got to have a taste of it, learn how to use AI, and from then I started just experimenting by myself. I realized that all these things like really pretty packaging and logos that I see, I can create it myself. So I started during COVID, I started posting a lot of my work on Instagram, and that's when I first got scouted by my first boss. So she slid into my DMs and she was like, "Are you a graphic designer?" Because at the time they were looking for a designer, and I was like, "I guess I am."
So your first job was actually, it was a contract or it was like a proper
It was a
job?
full-time.
Oh, it's a full-time role in Malaysia.
In Malaysia. It was a jewelry brand.
Okay.
So I was in the full-time job for around a year. And that's where I really learned about graphic design. My manager and my senior designer like taught me a lot. And I think you get to learn a lot through practice. Yeah. So I think like some people go to like universities for design. I don't think that's really necessary from a self-taught designer because
I'm a self-taught producer, so like, this all YouTube.
It's all YouTube
Correct,
University, I think. So then in my first job I learned a lot, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'm not so interested in being like an in-house designer anymore, and I wanted to go freelance. And so I quit my job after a bit, and I tried to freelance for a while, but I got another opportunity from a Malaysian local clothing brand, and they offered me like a contract role. So either like a 3 months or 6 months contract. And it was a brand that I actually wanted to apply for when I started looking for jobs.
Do you mind asking what brand is that?
That was Wincy Girl.
Okay.
So yeah, at first I was like, I don't know if I'm good enough for this brand. Their designs look really nice. I don't know if my designs are that nice. But yeah, I think I got a recommendation from them, and then they reached out to me. And I was like, hell yes, I would really love to work in your company. I love everything that they do.
Okay.
And it was like a really fun like 3 months with them. They offered me 3 or 6 months.
Okay.
And before that, I had a friend call me. This is how I decided to go to Bali. My friend Mark called me up. He was like, hey Stella, like out of nowhere, he was like, do you want to go to Bali for a month? That time he knew I wasn't in like any full-time job.
Okay.
Didn't need to go to office, so he knew I was like kind of remote. And I was like, wait, why Bali? It was his idea about Bali. Actually, before this, I didn't feel so like, oh, Bali is a dream or whatever. I feel like it was like a touristy place.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was like, let's just try it out, because like he will be working remotely as well. So we will be like working remotely together. We're not really like having a holiday, but on the weekends we can like take trips to the tourist parts. Yeah. So I was like, okay, let me try it. And then afterwards, the opportunity came from Musical, and I was like, I can't really take a 6 months contract because I know I want to be somewhere else after that in July. So like 3 months like line up perfectly to before I go to Bali. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna enjoy these 3 months and we'll see how it goes after. Like if I really want to stay in your company, maybe I'll cancel Bali or something like that. So yeah, the 3 months were like a really fun period of my life. I love working with the team. They were really amazing. And from there, I actually started to learn about packaging design. So before in my first job, my senior designer was the one in charge of packaging, and I was more working on like social media designs and more like collaterals, like newsletters and stuff. So in Whimsygirl, I got to get my hands on packaging design. I was like, what? This is so cool. And like people can carry around things that I design, because like on social media, it's over under like 24 hours, or after people scroll, it's gone. Yeah, so I was like, this is really cool. And I got to like print out the mock-ups and then see the actual packaging come into life. That was really nice. And I was like, I want to keep doing more of this. Throughout my whole career, like I have always posted about my work publicly on my personal Instagram, and that's how I kind of let people know that yeah, I do design and this is my style, this is my work. And then from then I have some friends, or I also make some connections through the brands, that people start to know that okay, I do this.
She can do stuff.
Yeah, and they started to reach out to me asking, hey, do you do logo design? Do you do this? And I was like, I have not really tried a logo design, but I can try. This was like my first kind of client was my cousin's sister-in-law, and she wanted to start her own like lifestyle brand. So she reached out to me asking me to design like a brand identity for her. I had only 2 clients once I decided to quit my job. So I didn't really have a really good backup plan. I was like, I'm just gonna go with it. I think these clients will give me like this amount of money, and I was like, I think that's enough to like let me live in Bali for a month.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what's your first pay? Like, let's say that there are 2 clients. What was the total you lived off for a month?
Around like 2,000, like each client. Yeah.
You're way better than me, dude. Like for the first 6 months or so, I was at 1,000 and living off my parents' place.
Yeah.
But, that's interesting. So
I think
that
it
actually
depends on what client it is, what kind of project you take on, right?
So I'm curious, with design work, is it a one-off thing or is it like a continuous project?
So for brand identity, it is a one-off project. So no one really needs a logo in like every 2 months. So yeah, and packaging as well. Only like when they have like a new product, then they will need packaging. But for me, mostly it's like one-off projects. But I also have tried social media designs. That's more of a continuous monthly projects that I can work on, and that helps to let me have a stable income.
Okay. And when you went to Bali, like I've been once, I quite love it there, but there are some aspects which I'm just like, I still like it here better in Malaysia. But like for you actually go there very, very frequently, and I would say like you kind of based out of there also, you would say. So
I think I'm there like half a year.
So what is the difference between like Bali and Malaysia, and what made you like want to set up shop there too?
So I've always known that I wanted to like live on an island or like by the beach, like when I was in college. And I was like, because our Malaysian islands, we can't really like live there. We can only go for holidays, like Redang, Tioman, Perhentian. You can't really see yourself living there because of the accommodations and also like restaurants and stuff. So when I first got to Bali, I was like 3 days in, I was like, kind of want to move here. Like I think everyone has that. Yeah. And then I realized that there are a lot of digital nomads that work at cafes or like co-working spaces, and Bali is a livable island. You get to have like a good standard of accommodation, and you can get around by yourself. You can explore the whole island.
Correct.
I think that was very important for me to know how people live here, how their lifestyle is like. And before that, I only worked like from home or from cafes. And after a couple of trips, I discovered co-working spaces. So after that, I was like, okay, this is how I can see myself like having a stable life here. Because like going to cafes every day, it like gives you another headache. Like which cafe should I go to today? So I was like, okay, maybe I should sign up for a co-working space, and at least I know that every morning I wake up, I just go to this one place. So it gives me a sense of routine. So from having a sense of routine, it makes me feel like, okay, like I could be like a local, like I could live here. So that really helped me have a more like stable routine living in Bali.
What would you say like the difference between the
The landscape.
landscape in terms of like for work there? You say there's a lot of nomads here, and
Yeah.
I think in Malaysia also we're trying to go towards that direction. Like they've been making like KL also a digital nomad hub. But what do you see as like the main difference between these
I
two?
would say, like for where I stay in Canggu, it is it's a digital nomad hub. So most of my friends are people that are working; they're not on holidays.
Oh, okay.
So it gives you like a sense of like
Accountability, yeah.
accountability. Like people are also working. I have to go to work. I'm not on holiday, and I would say in Canggu, it's like a small part of where a lot of people live like a normal life there, rather than in Malaysia where it's like a lot of people go to corporate and then some go to cafes to work. It doesn't feel like a community. So
Okay.
in Canggu, it feels like a community. Like everyone actually like works there.
Like we have actually very, very nice co-working spaces here. I've been to a few, but it's always like very empty, and also like there's like one or two people working.
Yeah, I don't think we have a good enough like hub for digital nomads to come together and like have a community. Yeah, so the community, the co-working space that I go to, we actually have a community, and all of us, I make all my friends there, like most of my friends there. Because they have like a cafe downstairs where you can socialize, and then there's an office. So with like standing tables and like big monitors for you to like be serious.
Oh, you can plug into their monitors.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
if you go early enough, you can get a monitor, and it feels like a real office instead
Okay.
of I'm on an island, you know. So there, I make really good friends that I've still been in contact with.
What's the co-working space that you go to? Do you mind sharing?
It's called B Work,
B work like B.
like B and work.
Oh, is this is in Canggu?
This is in Canggu. You
Yeah,
should
go
try
check
it
that
out.
out, yeah.
There I've tried like multiple co-working spaces, but I feel like this is the one that gives me more like
Sense of home.
like an office.
Okay.
So the others feel more still like quite islandy
Okay,
and
okay.
like more casual vibes, but this one there's like casual vibes at the cafe and then serious vibes
You're
in
gonna
the office.
work. Okay.
Yeah, I think
'Cause
that's really important.
I was in Kuta, like I think what you said also, I was like, once I wake up, I'm like, which
Which
cafe
cafe?
do I go to today? And that takes up quite some time to like, go
and you
around.
have to go to Google like, okay, which one looks like it has like comfortable chair.
Yeah, 'cause you're gonna be
good
working there for a few
Wi-Fi.
hours.
Yeah, and I feel so bad always like I have to order another coffee, order another.
You can't sit there for a whole day and that's
Yeah,
everything.
but with like a co-working space, you just pay a monthly fee and then you go in without ordering anything. Like you don't have to feel bad.
yeah, that's when the waitress looks at you like
Like, how long more is this person gonna stay here?
the whole day.
Yeah.
So what are your like biggest challenges while working out of a foreign country, I would say?
Okay, I would say my biggest challenge would be keeping my business afloat, because for me it's one-off basis projects, so it's very hard to still have projects going on. But for me, I've tried to secure like monthly clients. So I work with a brand in Bali full time. So it's like a monthly project. Whatever they need, I will provide for them. And I also have another social media content creation client right now. So they help to give me more stability in terms of income. Yeah, but I would say for a brand identity design studio, it's quite hard to predict like
Next.
5 months in advance. Like, do you have any work? Like, no, I don't. So we just go
This is
like
like
step
vibes.
by step. Yeah. Like agency studios, we don't really have that sense of stability, and I feel like a lot of freelancers, they can't really sustain this, and they need more of a stable income. So a lot of people still go back to like a full-time job. Yeah.
I mean, but for you, how do you actually get new clients? Like you say it's not stable, so you actually have to keep on going out and
Yeah.
how do you do that?
So I'm quite active on my Instagram. I try to post about my work, about my lifestyle, and that's how people. how to say, like, I'm fresh in people's minds when they think of design.
Oh, yeah.
So I would get inquiries, like few inquiries every month, and I would say, I do get a lot of rejections too. I would have a meeting with them, and then I will never like hear back from them. It's like if I get 10 inquiries, I could only maybe clients would have like a successful project.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, so from social media and also networking, so I'm quite like an extrovert.
Yeah.
So I think it really helps my business. So I talk to a lot of people, I tell them what I do, and then they say, oh, maybe I have something to work with you on. So that's kind of how I keep my momentum going.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think with also another thing, if you're running a studio by yourself, you don't really have colleagues. Like I don't have colleagues to. Most of the time we spend with our laptops.
Yeah.
Does it really affect you, especially in a new country or say even foreign country?
For me, actually, I don't really feel like I'm working alone because I always have meetings with my clients and I'm texting them like every single day. And for me, like the Bali client, for me, I'm part of their team. So I also have 2 other colleagues that I work really closely with.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't really feel like I'm working alone unless I'm working from home. I do feel quite alone sometimes, but I always have prefer to have meetings rather than just like sending emails here and there. So at least I feel like I'm talking to someone, you know.
And also, I think you're very active on. This is very active on Instagram, and you share a lot about your lifestyle. And I think that's what a lot of people look. I think with our work, people see the fun side.
Yeah.
Because that's what we post about, anyways. We don't post about like working. There's like 5 hours of.
Yeah. So I have a personal account and I have a business account.
Yeah. So how does that actually help you with your business? Like you're having a mental, the capacity to deal with all this.
Actually, I think it helps my business because when I post that I'm traveling in other countries, clients get to see that, oh, she also understands how the designs are there, how the landscape is in other countries. And I think some clients that want the same kind of style as the other country, I would be ideal for them to work on their project.
And this actually might be contrary, but sometimes I see people, they say that it's frowned upon to actually have too much fun. Like they look at us like, you're in your 20s, you should be working.
Yeah.
This is why are you, that kind of thing. But I think it's very important to have something outside of work to actually balance. Like for me, creativity, for us in the creative industry, it's very important to actually be creative, like find avenues that you're not stuck in.
Exactly.
And traveling and doing all this activity helps. And how important is it to have something that is outside your work that you're not just wake up, job, go to sleep, that kind of life. That's what happens very frequently here.
I think that's like a really huge thing for me to have a work-life balance because I've also been through where I just like wake up and I grind and then I go back to sleep. Like even on weekends I work. I've been through that and I've been like really burnt out and I was like, I don't want to have this anymore. This is also why I go to Bali to have more of a work-life balance. Because for me here the struggle is I don't really stay in the center. So when I want to come out and meet friends, I have to travel quite a distance, like an hour to like go to KL with the traffic. Like I'm really not passionate about this. So when I'm in Bali, I get to have more of an easier work-life balance. Whereas like in the morning before work, I can go to the beach. I can have a breakfast there, or I can take a walk on the beach, or have a swim, and then I will go back to work. And I'll start my day, and then lunch I will also go out to some cafes, and at dinner I'll have plans with some friends, and then that's like my socializing part. I think in KL for me I don't really have like weekday dinners with friends. Like usually it's like a weekend thing. Yeah.
Your friends won't have time for you to have dinners
True.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, same. And like, you always need to plan so much in advance with like friends in KL to have a dinner. Like everyone's schedule is so hard to align.
Like
Yeah.
traffic and everything. I saw someone tell me that I rather work in Bali. At least if I'm stuck in traffic, then at least I'm stuck in traffic on the island.
Bali.
In Bali. This is so depressing. Get stuck in the Puchong traffic.
Yeah. Yeah. So like. At night, I can go out with friends and we can enjoy. We can go for sunset and end our days like that. I think it's way better like work-life balance. I would say like maybe sometimes I'm super productive when I'm like working from home in KL, but as a creative, you really need like an outlet to express your creativity. And for me, like when I'm in Bali, I like creating content. So that's the kind of content I'm passionate about creating. I don't really like to create content about the city life.
What can you create content? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
trying to create content here. It's the
Like-
same thing. I go to work, I shoot podcasts, I go for sports, and then I go to sleep.
It's a whole different lifestyle, and for me, I'm more passionate about that lifestyle. I think everyone is
Yeah.
more of a holiday kind of look, island life. So yeah, I get to express myself in that other way too. Like instead of just like using all my creativity at work, I can also use in my personal brand.
All right.
Yeah.
And then before we end this segment, I just want to ask you just one question, because you've been meeting a lot of people that are not from here. Probably they think differently and everything. What's the one piece of advice that someone gave you that really stuck with you?
I would say maybe it's not from someone else, but this quote that I found that really stuck with me. I have this on my mirror, so I kind of see it every day when I'm in KL and I'm home. It says, "You are more capable than you think." So we always think that we kind of have this imposter syndrome, and we think we're capable of this much. But once you try, you know that you are capable of this much. So don't be afraid to try. Always experiment on different things. That's also how I do my work, actually. Every time I take on a new client, I'm like, I don't know whether I can deliver what they want, but I always give my best, and they end up loving it. So every time they end up loving it, it affirms me okay, I'm actually doing a good job. I'm capable of this, and I could be capable of more. I just need to try. Yeah.
All right,
I
great.
think that's one of my biggest advice that I always
Yeah.
tell myself.
I think for us, especially we're starting early in our careers and we have to be accountable for our own decisions and everything. How do you actually deal with this imposter syndrome for you?
Yeah, so I struggle with it all the time, and I think we always underestimate ourselves. But some clients, they can see that, oh, she has the potential for this and that, but because we don't believe in ourselves, it makes us feel a bit doubtful of whether we can do this project. And I think with imposter syndrome, it comes with practice. So the more experience you have, the more you feel like an imposter. But for us, we're starting kind of early and we're still kind of new in the industry. So it's very easy to feel that. And for me, how I overcome it is I just try to fake it till I make it. I always tell myself, actually, I can do this. It's going to be easy peasy.
Yeah.
And then I always give my best, and somehow clients end up liking the work, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm doing actually something right. Yeah.
I think for me, sometimes I see that this is a bit, I wouldn't say the word so high lah, but I'll look outside, I see people are doing a shittier job than me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
actually, yeah, some people can have worse work quality than us,
Yeah.
but they have the confidence.
So
So
it-
they are winning the clients, and we are here I don't know if I can do it. You
yeah,
know?
so sometimes I'm just like even for video editing for me, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'm not good enough. So I look up to those people who are damn good in production and all those YouTubers. That is the gold standard. But then if you look down, you're like, there's a lot of people that are doing well. They're just on their phones, just recording random stuff.
And they're making it.
So
Yeah, sometimes we put too much stress on ourselves. The standard that we want to be. I think this gap of where we want to be and where we are, it's always there's always gonna be a gap. We're always gonna look up to people. And yeah, I think it's up for us to really learn and improve ourselves to make the gap smaller. Yeah.
yeah, I want to move to what's the most proudest project you have done, since you talk about this. What's the one project you're like, yes?
Yeah,
this.
so my client, the one in Bali, so it is a spa. It's called Maja Spa.
Huh?
It's one of my most favorite project. It's an ongoing work for them. So why is because whatever I design, tons of people from all over the world come and see it. And some influencers that I knew from a few years back, they come to Bali and they visit the spa, and I'm like, this influencer I've been following for so long. They come and then they take a picture of my work and they enjoy the service. I'm like, wow, my work is shared all over the world. So that's a very nice feeling, because sometimes when I design for local brands, it's only kind of in this local bubble. So once I expanded to Bali, my work gets exposed to so many more people from some countries that I don't even know, and yeah, the numbers are huge. Yeah, so it's like one of my favorite things. It's like my work is not only limited to like where I come from, but it can be everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. And one thing is, as a design studio owner, these things actually go a long way to help your business. But how do you actually get people to know that this is done by me? I think that's because once you usually give your designs away or you do designs for
Yeah.
someone, it's their branding, is no more.
Mm.
So how do you actually pull back and pivot to yourself?
So with that, I have my design business account on Instagram. So that's where I post my work. So I take my credit back. I'm like, I did this, and then I share on Reels. And sometimes when you tag the brand on your own post, and the customers would go to the tag post, and that's where they find, oh, this designer did that work. So that's how also I get some of my customers.
And I see the way you do it is actually you do bookings every month, right?
I
You
get
like book
inquiries.
slots.
Yeah. I have slots.
How,
So
how
it's
does
kind of
that
just
work?
an idea. It's just like, okay, maybe this month I have two clients already, and I can take on like maybe two more. So I tell them, okay, I have two more slots available, and yeah, it's just kind of how much availability I want to take on.
Do
Yeah.
you do like cold outreach and all this kind of things through?
I actually haven't really done that, so I'm quite lucky that all my clients come to me and like I get referred to. Yeah.
And I'll ask what's you've been running this for, let's say, about 2 years,
Yeah.
3 years now.
Probably almost 3
Yeah,
years.
3 years. What's the biggest lessons learned? I mean, running this studio.
I would say like don't be greedy. So first we always have to quote our prices, right? And then once I see that okay, it's maybe like an international client, I try to put in more because they can afford more than Malaysians. So once I tried to put in more and then I lost the client. They'd be like, okay, I can find someone cheaper than that. Yeah. So like don't be greedy, like just quote what you think your value is at. I think try to build on that is better than like trying to just like step on the sky.
And one more thing, I think when you mentioned about pricing,
Yeah.
with us, the pricing actually varies. Like someone
It
can
really
charge the same work, can charge really cheap. So how do you price your offerings and services to your clients?
For me, I kind of do like a value based pricing. So for let's say like poster that would be really cheap, but for a brand identity, that's something that the brand is gonna use like all throughout their business. So that would be the most expensive asset. So it depends on how important the asset is for to the brand. That's how I price it. Yeah, and for different people, it could be different prices. But for me, I want to be able to afford my lifestyle. That's why I charge a certain price. And there are clients that come to me that can afford this price. So some people that can't afford it, like then
yeah,
you're
by
not my
all means,
client. Sorry. Like I hope you
find
can find someone
cheaper
that's cheaper.
option.
Yeah. Whether they can deliver the same quality of work, I'm not sure. But all the best to you. I think there are always like enough opportunities to go around. That's what I really strongly believe in. When there's a door that's closed, there's always gonna be another one that's open. So I'm never like I don't really like dwell on all the like missed opportunity. So I'm like I just okay, how can I find my next client? Yeah.
I think for a lot of clients right now, they are not only paying for your service, because I think everyone can do the same service, but they're paying for the trust
The
and
trust, yeah.
the cohesiveness, working together. That's what the trust in you
Like-
being able to work and not give them more problems.
Yeah.
That's what they pay for
To be
you.
able to solve their problems and have a good communication.
To
Yeah.
understand what they want, basically. Understand what your clients want.
Exactly.
And I think if I'm someone who is actually, let's say I'm working 9 to 5, or I just come out of college, university, if I want to go down this path, how would you advise someone to do that?
I would say maybe you can try to find like a remote work first, so it gives you more stability to be living abroad. You should find maybe like a contract remote worker role. Then you can try to live in another country and you have a stable income that's more safe. And to also find out like which country you feel most comfortable in living. Maybe island life is not really for you. Maybe you like Bangkok. Bangkok is
yeah.
also a really good place for digital nomads. Like people like the fast pace, the city life. For
Come to
me,
KL.
like yeah, I'll come to KL. For me, I like a slower pace and I like islands, the ocean. I think for you too, right?
Yeah.
Like we're both really like into the ocean.
Like, I like Hoi An. It's a very chill, people take their time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, like what makes me like keep going back to Bali is about the people too. People there, like, they really enjoy life, and like the socializing aspect is also very happening. So there are always like groups that are hosting any like workshops and stuff to like have, how to say, there are always people hosting workshops on like self-improvement, on business, on like work-life balance, or like spirituality. So I think that part really aligns with me. So a lot of people that I meet are quite like-minded people. They are very focused on their business, and they really want to achieve like this work-life balance.
I think they're looking for the cohesiveness of the integration between the two.
Yeah.
Like work doesn't seem like work, and it's part of
Exactly.
life also. And which platforms would you, let's say, recommend if someone wants to start off? Where do they go to look for clients, or what's probably the first thing they can do?
Actually, I'm not so sure because I haven't really tried searching for my clients that way, but I've heard like Fiverr or Upwork is really good for that.
And let's say we want to go down the referral route. All right, how can you get your first client?
I would say from networking, because you never know, someone's friend might need like a new branding business, might have a new business, or yeah.
So just putting seeds wherever then
Just tell everyone what you do. Like, I think that's very important, like self-promotion when you are a business owner. Like, no one's gonna help promote your business. You're not like, because when you're in a full-time job, it's different. You don't really care about growing the brand. Like, it's not your brand. Like, you let the boss go and promote her business, right? But for us, like, we have to promote ourselves all the time to get business. If you're so shy, you're like, oh, my work is not so good, you can't really get anywhere, I believe. Yeah,
Okay.
you always have to like believe in yourself, tell people, oh, maybe I can help you do this, maybe I can help you do that. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
what's next for you? Like, how can you reach out to you?
You can reach out to my personal Instagram. It's at Stella Ong.
How many G's?
3 G's, okay? You can reach out to my personal Instagram at Stella Ong with 3 G's. That's where I share a lot about my island life or my traveling life. And then for my design business account, it's called Visuals by S _. That's where I share a lot about my work. I will try to share more. I'm not so good at that. Because it's so much easier to share about your lifestyle than like your work. So I'll try to do more of that. And because I love like showing the process of my work and also what I learn along the way. So if you want to learn some more of that, you can follow my Instagram account. Thank you.
All right, and that's it for today's podcast. I would like to thank also Matt Coffee. So this is their cafe, and they have
Really good croissants
and drinks, and
pastries.
I met my girlfriend here too. So that's that. And they have their CNY promotions, which we will put it up here. So do check them out. They're in Puchong, and this is my go-to place to have meetings and
It's
everything.
also really good for co-working if you want to work here.
Correct. They do have like tables and a lot of plug points.
Comfortable seats too.
Yeah, all the lights here, they're plugged into somewhere, and every seat has one.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, see you guys in the next one. Like and subscribe, follow
Thank
Stella,
you.
and see you guys.